A cold wind swept across the barren plains as Jesse, a lone cowboy, trudged back to his dilapidated ranch. His pockets were empty, his stomach growling, but nothing compared to the ache in his heart. Earlier, he had stumbled upon a young Apache girl, barely 12, huddled over her mother's lifeless body. Dust clung to her tear-streaked face, and her small hands gripped her mother's as if refusing to let go. Jesse's chest tightened, the cruelty of the world never ceased to amaze him. The girl looked up, eyes wide with terror and confusion. "Please, help," she whispered, her voice barely carrying over the howling wind. Jesse knelt beside her, gently wiping away the dirt and tears. "You're coming with me, kid," he said softly, lifting her carefully, mindful of her fragile frame. Though he had nothing to offer, no food, no money, and barely a roof over his head, a spark of determination ignited in him. Back at the ranch, he spread a tattered blanket over her shivering frame. His kitchen was nearly bare, all he could find were a few stale biscuits and a can of beans. It wasn't much, but he cooked what he could and handed it to her. The girl ate hesitantly, eyes darting around, unsure if anyone could be trusted. Jesse smiled gently. "It's safe here. I won't let anyone hurt you." Slowly, the tension in her small shoulders eased, though sorrow still clung to her. That night, under the warm glow of a lantern, Jesse sat near the girl as she clutched a worn locket, her mother's only keepsake. "Why are you helping me?" she asked softly. Jesse rubbed his stubbled chin, weary yet resolute. "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing. Mercy is what keeps us alive, kid." The girl nodded slowly, the tiniest hint of trust flickering in her eyes for the first time. The next morning, Jesse worked the land while the girl helped gather firewood. Life felt fragile yet comforting, until the distant beat of drums shattered the peace. Jesse froze. "Apaches," he whispered, recalling stories of raids and bloodshed. The girl's grip tightened around his arm. They'll kill us," she stammered. Jesse shook his head. "No. If we show them respect, they'll see our hearts." As the drums grew louder, dozens of Apache warriors appeared on a ridge, their eyes fierce, weapons poised. Jesse approached slowly, hands raised, the girl clutching him in fear. The Apache leader, a tall man with piercing eyes, dismounted and studied Jesse intently. Jesse lowered his gaze in respect. "I found this girl alone, her mother is dead. I only offered her shelter and food. I am no threat." Silence hung over the plain, broken only by the wind through the dry grass. The girl peeked from behind Jesse, trembling. The leader's expression softened slightly as he studied Jesse's honest, tired eyes. Slowly, he nodded, signaling his warriors to hold their positions. Jesse let out a quiet breath, relief washing over him, though tension still lingered in the air. The days that followed were filled with quiet struggle. Jesse had little to offer, but he refused to turn the girl away. Supplies were scarce, the land harsh, yet small moments of warmth began to emerge. Her laughter as she chased a stray chicken, her curiosity about the plants and animals around the ranch. Jesse realized he hadn't smiled like this in years. Even in hardship, hope was taking root. Then came the first real twist. A jealous rancher spread rumors that Jesse had kidnapped the girl, claiming he intended to harm her or steal from her people. Threatening letters arrived, stirring fear in Jesse's heart. He feared that the fragile peace he had built could crumble at any moment. The girl, sensing the danger, clung to him tighter than ever, her fear mingling with the sorrow she carried for her mother. Determined to defend his actions, Jesse rode into town to explain the truth. Some townsfolk believed him, others remained skeptical. On returning home, he found the girl waiting on the porch, tears in her eyes, not from grief, but fear of losing him to angry settlers. Jesse knelt beside her. "No one will take you from me," he promised. She nodded, a fragile trust bridging the gap between sorrow and hope. One evening, the drums returned, louder than before, echoing across the plains. Jesse prepared himself, expecting confrontation. But as the warriors approached, something was different. Spears were lowered, eyes curious but not hostile. The Apache leader rode forward, voice booming across the ranch. "You acted with mercy. For this, we honor you." Jesse blinked, unsure if he had heard correctly. "Honor me." The leader nodded, signaling his warriors to dismount. Slowly, they approached, offering gifts of food, blankets, and a pledge of protection. The girl ran to her people, safe at last among her own, yet glancing back at Jesse with a smile that melted the weight in his chest. Word spread across the plains of the cowboy who saved a girl alone in the wilderness. More Apaches came, not to fight, but to trade and connect. Jesse's lonely, struggling ranch slowly transformed into a hub of friendship and trust between settlers and Apache families. His tiny home, once desolate, now overflowed with life, laughter, and gratitude. Yet peace brought new challenges. Resources were limited, and Jesse had to find clever ways to feed everyone and maintain his land. The girl helped eagerly, learning to plant, cook, and care for others. Together, they weathered storms, laughed at small joys, and built a fragile but growing sense of community. For the first time in his life, Jesse felt that his small act of mercy had grown into something larger than he ever imagined. As the days passed, Jesse realized his tiny ranch had become a lifeline for both the girl and her people. The Apaches brought seeds, tools, and advice on farming in the harsh plains. Though he was still broke, Jesse found wealth in the connection and trust forming between them. Every evening, the girl helped him feed the animals and tended the small garden. Her laughter echoed across the land, and for the first time in years, Jesse felt a sense of purpose deeper than any paycheck could provide. Then one morning, disaster struck. A violent storm rolled in, tearing across the plains with howling wind and torrential rain. The fragile wooden fences splintered, the crops were battered, and the small animals panicked. Jesse worked frantically, trying to secure everything. The girl clung to him, fear in her wide eyes. "It's okay, I've got you," he reassured her, despite the exhaustion and worry gnawing at his soul. The storm lasted through the night, leaving the ranch in shambles. Jesse surveyed the damage with a sinking heart, realizing he might not have the strength or resources to rebuild alone. Just as despair threatened to overtake him, a familiar sound reached his ears, the beating of drums. He looked up to see the Apache warriors, hundreds of them, arriving with supplies, tools, and determination in their eyes. They had come to help him rebuild what the storm had taken. Tears filled Jesse's eyes as he watched the community he had unintentionally built step forward. Together, settlers and Apaches worked tirelessly, repairing fences, replanting crops, and securing the ranch against future storms. The girl ran between groups, laughing as she delivered tools and carried water, her spirit unbroken. Jesse realized that the mercy he had shown her had sparked a chain of kindness far greater than he ever imagined. Amid the work, the jealous rancher returned, expecting to find Jesse defeated. Instead, he witnessed hundreds united, rebuilding the ranch together. Speechless, he retreated quietly, unable to comprehend the strength born from compassion. Jesse, exhausted but proud, knew that no amount of envy or malice could undo the bond formed between him, the girl, and the Apaches. One evening, after the sun dipped below the horizon, Jesse and the girl sat on the porch, watching the last workers return from the fields. She leaned against him, smiling softly. "I'm happy here," she whispered. Jesse smiled back, a warmth spreading through him. "Me too, kid, me too." The loneliness that had haunted him for years was gone, replaced by a community forged through trust and mercy. Word of Jesse's ranch spread far and wide. Travelers and settlers arrived seeking guidance, protection, and trade. The Apaches visited regularly, sharing stories, celebrating festivals, and teaching their children alongside Jesse's. His tiny ranch had transformed into a sanctuary where differences dissolved, replaced by understanding and friendship. Then came another surprise. The Apache leader returned with a gift for Jesse, a beautifully crafted horse, strong and swift, symbolizing gratitude and trust. Jesse mounted it, heart swelling with pride, feeling the weight of his hardships lift for the first time. The girl danced beside the horse, her laughter ringing like bells across the plains. The simple act of mercy had brought them safety, community, and joy beyond measure. Jesse also discovered that the girl had inherited her mother's courage and intelligence. She helped him negotiate with traders, tended the land efficiently, and grew into a young woman wise beyond her years. Together, they managed the ranch, their bond unbreakable. Visitors often marveled at the unity between them, settlers and Apaches alike admiring the compassion that had made it all possible. Over time, Jesse's story became legendary. Parents told their children about the cowboy who helped a girl when he had nothing, sparking a wave of kindness that reached far beyond the plains. He remained humble, never seeking fame or fortune. The true reward was the community, the laughter of the girl, and the respect of those whose lives he had touched. Years later, standing on a hill overlooking the flourishing ranch, Jesse watched children run through the fields, Apaches and settlers playing together. The girl, now grown, rode beside him on the gifted horse, smiling brightly. Jesse felt a deep peace he had never known. His act of mercy, a single choice to help someone in need, had transformed not only one life but hundreds. Even the rival rancher, once bitter and envious, came to understand the power of compassion. Witnessing Jesse's thriving ranch and the unity between people who had once been divided, he begrudgingly respected the cowboy's courage and heart. Jesse, ever forgiving, simply nodded to him, understanding that envy could never touch true kindness. As the sun set, casting golden light across the plains, Jesse and the girl sat together, watching the animals graze and the workers laugh. "We made it," she said softly. Jesse wrapped an arm around her shoulder, a satisfied smile on his face. "We did. Together. The storm, the fear, the hardships, they were all behind them, replaced by love, trust, and hope for the future." The final twist was unexpected yet heartwarming. One day, the Apaches brought a young orphan boy, lost and hungry, to the ranch. Jesse welcomed him just as he had welcomed the girl years ago. The cycle of mercy continued, proving that kindness always multiplies, touching more lives than one can ever imagine. As night fell, the ranch glowed with lantern light. Laughter, music, and stories filled the air. Jesse looked around, his heart swelling with pride. He realized that the barren plains he had once walked alone were now alive with love, trust, and community. His small act of mercy had blossomed into a legacy that would endure for generations. Finally, Jesse rode through the fields on his new horse, the girl beside him, the wind in their hair. He stopped atop a hill, looking out at the thriving ranch, the Apache families, the settlers, all united. The once lonely, broke cowboy had become a symbol of hope, proof that a single act of kindness could change the world. With a deep breath, Jesse turned to the girl and smiled. "We've done something amazing here." She laughed, joy radiating from her like sunlight. "And it's just the beginning," she replied. Together, they rode back toward the ranch, ready to face whatever the future held, stronger, wiser, and surrounded by the family they had chosen. The story of Jesse's mercy spread far beyond the plains. Travelers carried the tale from town to town, inspiring others to help those in need, to act with courage, and to show kindness even when it seemed impossible. Jesse had become more than a cowboy, he was a living testament to the power of compassion. And so, the once broke cowboy's ranch became a beacon of hope, where Apaches and settlers lived side by side, sharing the bounty of the land, the warmth of friendship, and the joy of lives touched by mercy. Jesse, the girl, and the community thrived together, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness can ripple across the world, leaving happiness and harmony in their wake. At last, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Jesse stood on the porch, watching the children play, the Apaches laugh, and the girl wave from the fields. He felt complete, his heart full. What had started as an act of mercy had become a life of love, connection, and hope, a true happy ending, born from courage and kindness. The plains, once lonely and harsh, now sang with life. And Jesse, the cowboy who had nothing but his heart, had everything that truly mattered. The story closed with the promise that mercy, courage, and compassion could overcome all odds, leaving viewers with warmth in their hearts and a lasting sense of hope.